Business owner, particularly in the hospitality business, you might like to stick with me because I'm going to show you how you should be marketing your cafe or restaurant or hotel. Okay, let's just say you're a business owner and you're in the hospitality or travel game. And even if you're not, I think you're probably going to find this interesting. As if I'm going to say anything else. I think it's interesting anyway. I don't care if you don't. I had a client. By the way, my name is John Dwyer and my business is the instituteofwow.com. We are a marketing advisory business. Now, I had a client a little while back who owned a cafe cum restaurant at Sanctuary Cove. Now, Sanctuary Cove is a gated upmarket community on the Gold Coast. I'm sure you've probably heard of it. And in Sanctuary Cove, they have a little village environment which has upmarket fashion stores and eateries, okay, restaurants and cafes. This particular one was called Cafe St Tropez. And the owner of the business, Steve Fenton, said to me, look, is there any chance you could just help me, get more sales? I said, sure. So I had a look at the business and I'm going to show you the sign that he had outside this beautiful, beautiful cafe. It's on your screen right now. You'll see there. Yes, it made him look like the $2 discount store. Okay, this was a beautiful cafe in a very exclusive upmarket village. We're talking something like, what's the street in Hollywood that everyone goes to? What's the street? I'll ask one. Rodeo Drive, yeah, my crew here are telling me. Rodeo Drive, that's the sort of ambience that this place has, and yet he had that sitting at that sign, that yellow gross sign sitting outside his restaurant. I said to him, who did the sign? Stevie Wonder? And he said, well, I think it was a friend of my daughter's. I said, oh God, please, she should not be a friend any longer. She's just taking your brand to the toilet. And I said to him, well, first of all, we need to fix that sign. And he said, well, okay, what should I do? So let me show you how we fixed it. See on your screen at the moment? Do you think that particular sign there, which of course has got beautiful, beautiful ambience about it, we've given the font, if you like, the typeface, an aura of class, and we've told everyone we're open for breakfast, lunch and dinner, and it's superb cuisine and the best coffee on the Gold Coast. I'll tell you more about that in a moment. If you see the before and after of those two signs, yeah, it's not even a contest, is it? Now, the other thing that we did is that I looked at his menu, and have a look at what his menu looked like before, before we changed it. I said to him, oh my goodness, who did your menu? Again, it was the friend of the sister-in-law or daughter-in-law or son-in-law, usual stuff. We've all got relatives who are website designers or graphic artists, don't we? And normally they're awful. So I said, look, why don't you just run away from your relatives? They're trying to destroy your business. How about we fix this? So therefore, what you see on your screen at the moment, which was his breakfast menu, have a look at what we did for it. Or with it, we changed it to what you can see now. The before and after is quite stunning. We made sure that I said to him, what are the most profitable lines on your menu? And he said to me, well, it's this, 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 and this. I said, okay, well, they're the ones that we'll show the photographs of. So, obviously at the end of the day, if you've got items on your menu that you've got bigger margins, then let's sell those ones. Did the same thing for lunch. Okay, so you'll see the difference in the lunch menu. And we did the same for dinner. Have a look at the stunning difference. I've got to show you the coffee menu because it was a cafe. I haven't got the before and after, I've got the after. Now, the moment that he came out with this coffee menu and they handed that to people when they came to sit down, or they had finished their meal and he was asking, would you like a coffee? Do you know, just with that. Now, the artwork for each one of those menus came in at about $150. Right? So $150 multiplied by breakfast, lunch and dinner, there's whatever that is, $450. And then the coffee one that you see on the screen at the moment, I think that was even less. So for an expenditure of $500 or $600, guess what? His trade for breakfast, for lunch and for dinner within 1 week of having the new menus went up 80%. It was 80 something percent. We're talking almost doubling his turnover, by the way, just by changing the damn menus. And in terms of the coffee, it was up like 400%. Because if you have a look at what's on your screen at the moment, the actual coffee menu, how could you refuse having a coffee? You have to have a coffee. This is what he's got to say.
I came across John when I owned a restaurant on the Gold Coast, and John introduced this VIP card idea where we'd buy 2,000 cards. It was incredibly cheap. I couldn't believe. I thought it'd be very expensive, but it was an incredibly cheap deal to get the cards, and they were quality cards, VIP cards with our logo, restaurant name, and we sent these out to all the homes, a letterbox drop to all the homes in the nearby area where we thought our target market was. The VIP card was really quite simple. It gave them 10% off their food, and of course, so the cost to us wasn't 10% because obviously they'd buy drinks as well, but it was an absolute terrific success. One of the things John did, and I'll try and show you one, is he got us to put pictures of the desserts on the menu. Well, this worked a treat, and you know, people would look at the picture, and we had one dessert which was the pancakes with ice cream. That was a particularly good picture, and people would order that all the time. So we found that we could influence what we were selling just by the quality of the picture on the menu. Yeah, John also suggested that we take the desserts out into the restaurant and show them to the customers. And the moment we did that, you know, our dessert sales just skyrocketed. People could see it, they liked it. Yes, I'll have that. Yes, I'll have that. That looks great. It was something we hadn't thought of, but it was just a simple wow that didn't cost us anything to do, but it just skyrocketed the sales of our desserts. Before we put into place John's coaching program, our annual profit was about $120,000 a year. But after we put John's coaching program into place, the profit within 18 months grew to an annual rate of about $440,000 a year. What that did to the value of our business was it multiplied it 4 times. Just an outstanding result.
Okay, so there you go, pretty happy camper. We introduced a VIP card for him in terms of, you know, people who lived inside the gated community. They were given special offers. Okay, the thing is that if you want people to feel that they're special, then you've got to treat them special. And so therefore, if you're inside the gated community of this, you know, wonderful Beverly Hills, you know, California style environment, then you should treat the people inside there who are more than likely going to be your most, you know, regular customers with special treatment. Give them a VIP card. So that was distributed in the letterboxes of all these people. And of course, you know, he benefited greatly because they would come to him instead of any of the other cafes in the area. He collected a database. Okay, and by doing that, in other words, I said to him, look, just get the waiters and the waitresses, give them 50 cents for every time they actually, you know, collect someone's data, which is name, email, and phone number, mainly phone number. And he said, well, I go on. I said, well, don't let anyone leave, because there's hardly any restaurants in the world that collect data. And they wonder why Amazon is doing so well, because they've collected data for years and they're exploiting it. So what happened is that when you had a meal, if you were there with 3 of your girlfriends and you just played tennis and there was 4 of you, then the waitress would say, listen, here's a piece of paper. All it was to win dinner for 10 of your friends at the end of the month. Can we just have you fill it in, name, email, and phone number? Guess what? Within about 3 months, he collected something like about 12,000 people's details. Now, when it came time to sell the business, guess what happened? Because he did sell the business. He was getting about $1 million for the business, I think it was, when he was selling it. And he rang me up and said, listen, the guy that's giving me the money, I've said to him that we've got a database of X thousand people, I think it was about 12,000, not only their name and contact details, but how much they spend a week. So we categorised them A, B, C, D based on what their spend was each week. In other words, what their annual value was to the business. And he said, what would I charge? I said, oh mate, I don't know, pick a number. And so he picked a number near enough 100 grand, and the guy wrote the check out on the spot, because who wouldn't want to buy the database with the business? So that's the crazy thing about most hospitality businesses, is that they don't collect data. And it means is that the most valuable thing when they're selling is not just the P&L and fixtures and fittings, but also the customer base. Can you imagine if someone said to you, oh, by the way, if you want to pay a little bit extra, I'll give you the names and contact details of everyone. Now, guess what he was able to do with that, by the way? At 3 o'clock of an afternoon, if he wanted to fill his restaurant for dinner, he just sent out a text message and said, look, we've got a lobster tail meal for 2 tonight for $68, but first in, best dressed. And guess what? Within 10 minutes of sending out that text message to maybe 500 of his database, bang, booked out for that night. You can't do that if you don't have their details. So yeah, my message to you, if you're in that game, if you're in the hospitality or restaurant game, collect data and exploit it through SMS marketing. If you're interested in knowing more about incentive-based marketing, you'll see a link above or below me here. Jump onto that and have a look at this incredible incentive of a free holiday that we've got at the moment. I won't go on about it. I've given you a lot of good content, but of course you have to forgive me if there's a pitch at the end. If you're interested in knowing more about this stuff, just click the link above me or below me. Hope you enjoyed it.